like allergies or something. Like my nose has been running.
Well, you better go catch it. See the abuse? I got it on camera.
Yeah, on camera. You can cut it anyway. He's like, I want to leave it in just because you said something.
Welcome to Slasher Sunday. Friday the 13th, part 3 in 3 dimensions.
The third dimension.
Yeah. I wish this review was in 3 dimensions.
It is.
And I go right there and just knock one of you out.
Knock one of you out.
Yes. One thing I was meaning to bring, maybe Kaylee can go get them for us, is the books, but we don't have to get them. So the only adaptations I have from this franchise, weirdly, there's 2. There's 2 completely different adaptations of this that were released around the same time. One is on Friday the 13th, Part 3, and the other one is on Friday the 13th, Part 3, 3D. But the book is not in 3D.
It's not a 3D book?
No.
Lame.
So why they hired 2 different authors to pen 2 different books based on the same screenplay and release them around the same time.
Yeah.
With the only title change being 3D.
That's bizarre.
Is super weird.
Yeah.
But I do own both of them, and I was reading some of the little first pages of them while she was in the bathroom. And yeah, I mean, they're completely different books, completely different authors. Super weird.
So weird.
I would love to read both of them, and I would love to do a video on that. So, okay. Obviously, we are doing our Revisited series. I covered this once before, but we're going to be a little more extensive this time because these old videos were like 10 minutes long, and I don't even understand how the hell I could talk about a movie like this in 10 minutes. I don't know exactly what the runtime is for this one, but I remember the last one was like 12 or something, which is crazy. And then you and I did like an hour and 30. So, yeah.
We did a long discussion.
Supersize me.
Yeah.
Now, we are going to cover the final chapter next week, but we got a super special, awesome surprise for us, really, more than you guys. We're getting to go on Friday the 13th this year to see the final chapter in theaters. Already got our tickets. It is very serendipitous. We'll talk about it in our review for that. So anyway, very excited to see that on Friday in 5 days from now. First time I'll have ever seen that movie in theaters. The first Jason movie I saw in theaters was Jason X.
Wow.
Yeah, that's crazy.
That is crazy.
But, you know, hey, what can I say? All right, so as far as this goes, I love this movie. I always have. I always will. The original 8 just always are going to hold a special place in my heart. I grew up on them. I've seen them a million times. This is no exception. I know that some people aren't big on this one, but I love it. I love the characters. I love the kills. I love, you know, some of the stuff. I don't love the idea of Jason potentially being a rapist, but we'll get there. It adds something to him as a character, at least. I mean,
it does. I think there's a way to interpret that. I have my interpretation of it, at least, which we can talk about later. But I love, obviously, the fact that his iconic mask is introduced in this one too.
Yeah, of course.
It's such an important one for the franchise. And yeah, the kills are great, even though we did not watch this in 3D. I still kind of like the 3D gags that they do. I think they're funny. And
these are what we should have on the table.
Oh, sure, yeah.
For these.
That goes out so dusty.
Yeah. I didn't even think of having these on the table.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
But yeah, so okay, so this, but as you said, the introduction of what would become the look of Jason, I definitely find that to be super fascinating because I don't know of any other franchise where the iconic villain gets his, staple attire in this late of an entry.
Yeah, in a part 3.
Yeah. And that's like from now on, right? He's attached to that mask. It's iconic to him. They won't detach him from it.
No.
Which, God, I just, this one more so than Halloween. This is the one where you had the golden opportunity of really giving Jason a new look every movie.
Yeah.
Right? He has a bag on his head in part 2. He has a hockey mask in 3. In 4, whatever the director wants.
Yeah.
Right? In every movie, you look forward to, like, what's his mask going to be this time?
I love that concept because I do think that the gimmick of, like, new mask every time is really interesting. But I'm sure that it's also, like, the reason the studio didn't go that way with it.
Marketing.
Because of marketing. It's so much easier to have one mask that you can identify.
Yep. Oh, I know.
Like, easily and regularly. And, like, Jason's mask of all the masks, like, I mean, it's the most simplest one.
Yeah.
So,
well,
and it's also probably, like, when you think about, like, costumes and stuff, the easiest one to, like, reproduce. Like, not only for the films, but also for, like, sales.
Yeah. Except for, weirdly, you still never see a good Jason mask almost ever.
Yeah.
But every Scream mask I've ever seen in my life, basically, all look exactly like the one in the movie.
The Scream masks are, like, it's kind of wild. I don't know why they are so accurate always.
Always.
Like, they just... I mean, I'm not to get on a tangent about Scream or anything, but I think that that's fitting given the, like, that, like, the whole thing is about imitating horror movies and killing, and, like, for the costume in our real world to also be so accurate.
Well, I mean, the ones in Stab and the ones that are given out at the Stab premiere and stuff are accurate to the ones that Billy and Stu wore.
Yeah.
Which is kind of wild because we've talked about this before, and this is pertaining to this as well. Outside of, like, John Wayne Gacy's clown makeup or something, I don't know of any, like, I don't know if there's any killer that we're aware of in history that has some kind of, like, iconic mask that they wore during killings, right? That's a totally movie thing. Yeah. Like, most guys, they'll wear, like, a ski mask, something just, like, basic that they'll, grab off a shelf that's simplistic enough to cover their features.
Yeah, that's mostly for anonymity's sake. But I think, like, with horror movie masks, they serve another purpose, which is primarily from, like, a cinematic storytelling place.
Well, it's supposed to give them character.
It gives them character, but also, like, with the case of Jason especially, because he looks deformed. So different and he's deformed. I do think that he's put things on his face to hide, to hide that part of himself because he's ashamed, embarrassed. Like, I think, he's aware that he's different. And I think in this film too, we really see that he has that, like, he's, like, realizing his disconnect from other people. Yeah. Because in the scene when I'm, like, so bad with characters' names, but when he's watching oh my God, I can't even. But, like, he's watching them out the window. I, like, can't even think of the names to begin.
Watching who? Out the window? Like, no, like, what do they look like?
The problem is that, like, all the girls are, like, brunettes.
Right.
And the guys are also brunettes. So the girl that's in the blue bathing suit, the one...
That's Debbie. The one who's pregnant.
And then Debbie's pregnant. And then who's her boyfriend?
Her boyfriend's Andy.
Okay. When he's watching Andy and Debbie from the window...
Yeah.
I really felt like he was, like, aside from, like, his other times, like, stalking people, I felt like he was kind of, I don't know, like, sad or, like, just the feeling of him, like watching that interaction. You know what I'm trying to say? I feel like I'm not saying.
But do you feel like, I feel like you're applying the same thing that, okay. outside of like the sad, but the voyeuristic nature of Jason in this one is fairly reminiscent of Michael in part one, when he's like watching Annie and he's watching Linda and Lori like walk around, and he's watching these like normal everyday events, and like, you know, is that the longest freaking thing ever?
Drying laundry.
Yeah, that was crazy. But it's, yeah, he it's like he wants to be part of that world. He's like Ariel. He's
yes,
like,
that's how I think of Jason, but I don't think that that's Michael's like vibe at all. I think of Michael as like a shark or like a predator, like watching people to like attack them.
Not for me.
That
no,
I don't.
Not in the first
for me,
movie.
I feel like Michael is emotionless. Like I don't feel like he has that kind of connection. I feel like he's watching them coldly. But with Jason, I feel like he feels left out, or like knows that he's different, kind of like a murderous Quasimodo.
I get that, but with Michael, I'm very much on the side with the first movie specifically. But there's a curiosity to him.
There is a curiosity.
And there's a playfulness to him. So that does not suggest to me that he's cold and emotionless.
Well,
right? He wouldn't put on the freaking get up to pretend he's Bob. He wouldn't like examine his work as he sits there and like stares at like what he did. Like, to me, cold is just like, you know what I mean?
I guess what I mean by that is more like he doesn't have the normal human like responses that you would have to
sure,
because I do think he's curious and I do think he's playful, but just with Jason though, I don't get the like, I don't know. I mean, he's going around killing people this whole movie, of course, but I just, with that scene and maybe some others too,
he's longing.
It felt lonely. It felt like he's like, man, I want that. And especially everything with, yeah, I don't know. We'll go into more things, but
I mean, you bringing that up definitely makes me now think more about the passing of the torch, so to speak, from one character who acts a certain way and hides his face any chance he gets and feels like he's not part of things. So I feel like Shelley is kind of a stand-in emotionally for Jason.
I like
that. Where, because it is who, you know, Jason gets his mask from.
Yeah.
And they kind of wear it for similar reasons in that way of like, I don't belong here. Right?
Yeah, and I mean, Shelley's even like, you know, I have to act this way or I'll be like, it's better than being nothing.
Sure.
Or whatever. And
Jason's a killer.
Yeah.
Or he'd be nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that analogy. I think that works.
I do too.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, as far as like, let's get into the movie. So the movie doesn't start before we get an actual like new scene where the movie actually starts. 7 minutes and 40 seconds in. Yeah. That's insane.
That's crazy.
So we get the whole ending of part 2 is like the first 4 minutes of the movie.
Yeah.
Then the next 3 minutes of the movie is the opening credits. Now, technically, you get the like Jason moving next to the machete that went through his clavicle. But outside of that, like 1 second of new footage.
Yeah.
7 minutes and 39 seconds. The 7 minutes and 40 seconds is not, it's nothing new. It's just, but the opening music is awesome. I'm a big fan of kind of like the disco atmosphere of this Harry Manfredini score. He changed it up drastically for this one, and I love it.
Like, I'm feeling funky.
The fact that it's like in 3D and it has this like kind of disco flavor to it.
Yeah.
I'm all about it.
I like it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really funky.
It's fun.
He's like, time to shake it up.
I'm just imagining Jason on the dance floor.
Yeah.
We do get to see that sort of in part 8.
Takes
Manhattan. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, there is way too much of that in the opening.
Yeah.
We do kind of get, to me, we basically get confirmation that Ginny's dream sequence with Paul is a dream sequence. because Jason, like, we see him kind of get up from the knife and walk away. It's like he's not going to them. He's out of there, right? Like all three of these films, and shit, so many of them end with dream sequences.
Yes.
Where it's like that didn't happen.
I feel like that is kind of like a staple. Like, I don't know if that's supposed to be like a signature,
Yeah.
where it's like all the other ones did this, so we're gonna do it too. But it's, I don't know. I'm fine with them, I guess, but there's too many. They're kind of annoying too.
There's 1 in 1,
yeah,
2, 3, and 5.
Yeah.
It's like, how many of these are gonna end this way? But regardless, I do always see them as dream sequences. They do say 8 victims on the TV. I would like to go through and count the victims in part 2 to try to see if they're saying Paul is dead. Because if we're saying dream sequence, Paul's not dead. But we already talked about this in the last. Okay, see? 7 minutes and 40 seconds made me start talking about the last movie, and we need to move on to this movie. So, all right. We are first now introduced, our first new characters are Harold and his lovely, lovely wife. And I don't know why Harold, okay, so Harold, because I looked it up, because I was looking at him, like, I think it's Edna. She looks like early 20s, and they try to make her look older with the curlers and this and that, but I'm really looking at her, I'm like, you're like 25 at most.
Yeah.
And Harold is 40s. Like,
sure.
So I looked it up. Harold's 41 and Edna is 26.
You were gonna be like 14.
Yeah, 14. 26. In the book, since I was reading the first chapter of one of them, it did say that they were high school sweethearts and got married at 18 years old each, and that Harold was supposed to be drafted into the NFL. He was a quarterback.
This is so specific.
What's up?
So specific.
Yeah, like they were. He was a big football player, and she like married him thinking that he was gonna like get rich and famous, and then he ended up like not making it and getting drafted into Vietnam. So and then he came back. Yeah, so she's supposed to be his age, but they could have casted someone a little older.
Cast properly.
There's a sign up in their yard that says "Look out for locomotive." Is there like a train right there? I didn't see any tracks or anything.
Is locomotive just trains, or is it also like vehicles?
Locomotive's a train.
Okay. I didn't know. I thought it was maybe both.
Not that I'm aware of.
But I don't know. Maybe there's a mini train somewhere.
Maybe. I don't know how things operated in 1983, 82, 83. But there's like safety seals on things. Like the orange juice, the peanuts. Like they have like the once the seal's broken,
like you're not supposed to eat it.
Yeah, you're not. You're supposed to send it back. Harold is just going to town on this food. Gross. He's just going through. He eats a full donut out of one of the boxes.
No, he doesn't eat a full donut. He eats like 3/4 of a donut, and she comes in and like throws it back in the box, which is even worse.
There's a lot of like gas stations and like little food markets in this little area.
Yeah.
Throughout the first 3 films, we see quite a few different establishments like this that I'm just like, how many of these are there?
Because it's a transient town.
Because there's 2 in this movie alone.
Yeah.
You got Harold and Edna's place, and then you got the place that Vera and Shelley go to, which is a totally different place.
Right.
Right. And then you've got the one in part 2. You've got the other one, and you know, she walks past a bunch of places like that in part 1, and none of them are the same, but they're all like right in the vicinity of the same area. But it's such a small town.
If people are passing through the small town, so it's like
there's that many
little
little markets,
little hubs for people to stop at.
Maybe I'm just saying it's got a lot more establishments like that than I would expect.
That's fair.
It's not unbelievable, I guess, but I've lived in small towns.
Maybe they
don't have
multiple. Maybe they crop up and then they close down, and then another one crops up, another couple crop up and then close down.
Crop up or pop up?
They pop and crop.
Okay. I love the scene where Harold is scared by the snake and then immediately runs to the bathroom. So basically he shit himself. He basically shit himself with that snake.
Yeah.
So did the snake get in there and kill the bunnies? Or did Jason let that snake in there to kill the bunnies? Because it just seems very coincidental it happened at the exact same time.
I don't know. Maybe Jason did. Maybe he's like, I know you guys killed, not you guys, but I know people killed a snake.
Well, I would just think that he's like, I guess where I'm going with that is like, the snake's a predator.
Yeah.
And he's throwing it in a cage with a bunch of victims. Right? To him, that's like,
he's like,
the snake is him, right?
Yeah, and like, this is me.
Yeah, this is like
I'm the snake, you're the bunnies.
I connect with this, right? I'm gonna pop him in there. So I just don't know how a snake could get in there, but he got loose, right? Yeah. So that means the door came open and a snake could get in.
Yeah.
So Jason probably didn't do it, but
I don't think he did.
Yeah.
I think the snake just got in, and it's like foreshadowing for the rest of the film for us.
I can tell you something for sure. This I'm 100% on. I do not, for any reason, need to, and I've had to listen to this a lot over the years. I did not need to hear Harold's shit plopping into the toilet.
I know. It's so gross.
That is like a decision by this like Foley artist and the sound mixer that I'm like, guys, I get realism.
No, that's not supposed to be realism. That's totally just in there for a gross out factor.
So
it's the only reason.
And then he hears a noise, and with all them ploppins, he gets up, no wipe.
I know. It's disgusting.
And I'm just like, Harold, you are just
if you've ever
so
pooped.
horrible. If you've ever pooped in your life.
Like, how do you not wipe?
I mean, if there's no toilet paper and you have no option.
Yeah, but like you feel.
Sure.
You haven't wiped.
Disgusting.
It's disgusting.
Sure.
It's gross. There's no way that people.
But what?
I mean, I get in that scenario. He's scared.
This has always been my question. Before we invented toilet paper, like humans from birth, and in like the old timey days,
so they just had dirty buttholes. Is that what you're gonna say?
Yeah, like okay, but no, I mean like our design, right? Like okay, for instance, our dog Grogu.
He's right there.
There he is. He goes outside, he squats, he poops, and he walks away, and there's nothing. His butthole is designed to be very clean.
Yeah.
Ours are like trapped behind these like meat curtains. These meat doors.
Curtains.
That's more like a vagina, meat curtains. The meat doors that are like just slapped together and smush it. Like our buttholes are not designed to not be wiped. So what are we supposed to be? What? What'd you hear?
That we don't poop correctly. That in Japan, for example, there's different styles of
like the
toilets.
squatty potty.
Yeah, you're supposed to squat.
Okay, but
maybe if we were squatting more, there would be less need to wipe.
So you're telling me that if we went out and squatted right now and pooped out in the yard, that I wouldn't need to wipe? Is that what you're saying?
Know. I've never done that before. Well, actually, that's a lie. I've been camping. I have done that before, but I had toilet paper. All I'm saying
and when you wiped, there was poop on it, right?
All I'm saying is I don't care if Jason is coming at me in the other room.
Yeah, you're wiping?
I'm wiping before I go out there.
So you're telling me that you would rather die than not wipe?
Yes.
If you had the option.
I'm not dying with a poopy butthole. That's what I'm saying.
It's the least of my concerns when Jason's coming in. I am not like looking for a toilet paper roll. I'm looking for a weapon.
You didn't have to look. It's right there next to him. It's literally just...
Maybe he doesn't have it. Maybe he just is like, that's not my thing.
That's gross.
Maybe he just build up a tolerance.
Gross. He's like, I was supposed to be a football player.
We talked about this for so much longer than necessary. Welcome to classic Sinister Cinema reviews. Meet curtains, meet doors,
we gotta stop
squatty potties
in
Japan.
I want to ban that term.
We were
I don't like it.
3 minutes dedicated. Oh my goodness. I thought 7 minutes and 40 seconds of the old movie, but now we're talking about poopy buttholes.
We're moving on.
We are moving on. But it is gross.
It's gross.
Harold.
Yeah.
Okay. Once again, moving on to the complete opposite end of the spectrum here. The girls in this are so pretty.
They are really pretty.
Like this franchise, this is definitely of the slasher franchise. Slasher franchises out there that have like, you know, many sequels. This is definitely the best looking franchise. There are so many pretty girls in every entry, like throughout. It's crazy.
I mean, I think that's one of the big appeals of Friday the 13th is having gorgeous girls in bathing suits.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of, I mean, it definitely sets up a good amount of the tropes for the slasher genre too. As far as that goes.
Definitely. I always try to like figure out what movie has the best looking girls per square inch. Like, which one has the best ensemble of hotness?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I'm trying to pay attention to it this time. I'm going to say, of the first three, it's this one.
Yeah. So far, this one for sure.
Like, I'd say the next one has it beat. With Sam and the Doublemint twins,
I think,
and the Virgin.
I'll have to pay attention to them as we keep going, because I remember in our last review for part 2, we were talking about how the girls were really pretty, but they're very like believable looking, like they looked like real people, which was nice, and that was like part of what made them attractive. And I feel like in this one, they look more like supermodels to me. Like they look a little bit more like refined beauty.
Yeah.
Not that they're like totally unrealistic beauty standards or anything, but just it does feel like a difference.
Yeah, I don't know. Chris and Debbie especially. I don't know which one's prettier, but they're both just so pretty.
Yeah.
Anyway, so as far as like the 3D goes in this, what do you feel about the gimmick of the 3D that constantly like has to be shoehorned in every like 10 seconds?
I find it more funny than anything in this. I don't like watching movies in 3D.
Yeah.
I've seen a few in theaters and the glasses make me kind of nauseous, and I don't need that.
Yeah.
But when you watch a 3D movie and not 3D, I think that it's just kind of funny. And I mean, they are shoehorned in, but none of them feel like super atrocious, you know?
Yeah.
Where it totally takes me like out of whatever's going on.
Yeah.
So
just checking mics. Our mics die and we lose all audio. It happens way more often than I'd like. It's happened like 2-3 times now on the channel. It pisses me off. So one thing I was corrected on last time, because I always used to get accused of doing drugs on the channel back in the day, if you remember. This was always so super funny to me. But so my insane knowledge on drug use made me make the statement in my very first review of this that these guys would be so high if they ate all that weed.
Yeah.
And I was corrected about 764 times from actual potheads.
Stoners are like, nah, man.
You can't get high
from
off
eating
of eating
flour.
like raw weed.
No, you cannot. But it would taste
I
disgusting.
apologize. I thought that you would. I thought there like the THC in it or
No.
something. No, I don't know.
That's okay.
I don't know how
That's
that
fine.
works. I thought
Yeah.
cooking it makes it potent.
Yeah, I don't know the exact science, like how it extracts like the THC or whatever, but you do have to heat it up in order to, which is why like when you're smoking, like you're heating it up as well, but the same thing for when you're cooking.
Yeah.
So yeah, it doesn't do anything to you when you eat it.
Yeah.
But it probably, I've never eaten pot like that, but I'm sure it's gross.
Have anybody out there
Just eaten like a nub?
weed?
It would be such a waste because it wouldn't do anything.
That just seems like something kids would do.
Yeah.
Myself, I guess.
Like, oh,
I just feel like I'm gonna get so high right now, just start munching on some pot, and then just be like, "Man, I got such a high tolerance, I ain't feeling shit." Or be one of those people who like pretends to feel stuff.
No.
I remember I used to go to the bar, or I used to go to like house parties or whatever, and there'd always be, not always, but like 1 out of every 3 to 4 times, there would always be that girl that would have like a sip of beer or something, and then she'd be like, "Oh my god, guys, I'm so drunk." And like, you are not drunk. Why are you lying?
Yeah.
It's just a fit in.
It is.
She needed a hockey mask.
She did.
She did.
Jason was like, if I wear this mask, they'll accept me.
This Jason, not this Jason.
No.
Yeah. I thought you were talking about me for half a second. The guy laying in the road is obviously the stand-in for Crazy Ralph.
Yeah.
Whose eyeball is that?
I don't know.
Do you think that's a human eyeball? You think he's just a crazy person that's like carrying around a friggin' like animal eyeball?
Gross.
Yeah.
It doesn't really look like an eyeball, like a human eyeball.
It doesn't look. It's not a human eyeball.
It probably is an animal eyeball.
I would assume it is an actual animal eyeball.
You think it's like not like it's a real animal eyeball?
I think so. Yeah.
That's gross. And I hope they didn't harm an animal to get that.
I mean, they definitely harmed an animal to get it, but they did not harm an animal
There could be like road. Well, yeah, like an animal was harmed to get it. I mean, like I meant like intentionally.
No, I don't think they were like, you see that cow over there? Go give me his eyeball.
Just the eye.
Yeah.
I don't like him as much as I like Crazy Ralph.
Well, we get him for like 4
Jason's
seconds.
Father.
Yeah. Maybe this is Jason's father.
No.
No?
Eyeball guy is not Jason's father.
You never know.
I know.
Why?
We've already discussed in depth.
We've discussed in depth? Well, now I'm throwing a curveball.
Yeah, if you want to know why Crazy Ralph is Jason's dad, go watch our part 1 discussion.
But now I'm changing my mind. It's eyeball guy.
I don't like that.
He gifted him, right? He killed Crazy Ralph. You kill your father? Did you kill your father? I haven't killed my father. Have you ever given your father a gift? I have. See? Proof.
Okay.
I win.
I don't know. What?
Yeah. Jason's like, here, Dad. I gave you an eye. Aren't you proud of me? And he's like, nope.
Nope.
Nope. Go wipe your butt.
Go wipe your butt.
Yeah. Yeah. So this takes place once they get there in Higgins Haven. Now there is a piece of trivia. That's something to remember for the Friday the 13th franchise, is where the first one takes place. Camp Crystal Lake, obviously, right? You go down the row, and this one is at Higgins Haven. Okay, so why the hell are these like college age people driving around with Cheech and Chong? Chicha and Chong. Yeah. Like, I don't... Chuck and Chili are such a weird inclusion to this friend dynamic, because Chuck... I know Chuck is probably supposed to be their age, but for some reason he looks 35 years old. And Chili looks 30.
They also kind of look like a weird pairing to me, because he looks like really hippie and she kind of just looks like normal.
Yeah,
for her
a little
weird
bit.
Boot necklace.
Her boot necklace that is the same color as her shirt.
Yeah, the blue boot.
Yeah.
For the blue shirt.
I had suggested that they use specific color patterns on the clothes because a lot of people are wearing blue in this. Like underneath Chris's green jacket, she's wearing a blue shirt. Debbie wears a blue bathing suit. Chili wears a blue, shirt, probably because she's Chili. But I'd wondered if that was because it screwed
3D.
with the 3D opticals. Like there was some kind of mess up when they had certain patterns, and so they had to keep like very like one pattern type shirts, and they went with like specific colors.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense to me. I don't know though.
I don't know because the glasses, right? The glasses that you used to wear were like one was red and one was blue, and maybe like certain colors like screwed up in the glasses.
Maybe.
But I don't know. Nature has so many different colors, and it's not like they can go around and make everything specific colors.
Yeah, but the nature isn't what's going to be 3Ding. It's the people on screen mostly.
But I would think the glasses would mess up any color on screen.
Right. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. But they do seem to be wearing a lot of blue. I don't know why they're driving around with them. They're just part of their friend group. And
according to you, Jason's got the blues.
He does.
Yeah. He's the bluest of them all.
He's sad. He's a sad, uggo boy.
It's because he hasn't wiped his ass in like 20 years.
He's like that episode of SpongeBob. You've never watched it, but it's a great episode where SpongeBob thinks everybody hates him and doesn't want to be around him because he's ugly.
Yeah.
He'll go around and people will be like, oh my God. And they'll like run away. And he's like, I'm ugly. But it's just because he's stinky.
Because people can smell under the sea.
I'm ugly and I'm proud. Yeah.
So the incident that takes place with Chris, it takes place 2 years previous to this. This takes place like the next day after part 2. And part 2 happens 5 years after part 1. So somewhere between part 1 and part 2, the flashback with Chris is in that area. Right? So the flashbacks are little prequels of what Jason was up to when he wasn't chasing. I don't know what the hell he was doing because he killed Alice like a month or so, 2 months, month or two after the events of part 1, and then 5 years he was just out there raping chicks. I guess I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I think that I do think that this heavily implies that he raped her. I don't really see another interpretation of it. I do see how there's another interpretation, but to me, it makes sense that he raped her, especially given like, although I guess it's kind of a dream what happens at the end, because I was gonna like use that as an example, like his weird, but he shows her his face.
Oh yeah,
and like he smiles. Bizarre, and he smiles at her. So I feel like this is a moment when he like finds this attractive girl and actually is like, I want to do what all those other people that I saw and killed were doing.
Well,
and he tries to do it.
I had suggested that he was screwing around with Sandy's dead body in the bed in part 2.
Yeah.
Right? And now the Chris rape, if it did happen, took place before Sandy. So this would, show us that this is just part of his MO. Maybe he thought he killed her and raped her.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe he's been doing this. I mean, with Sandy, him being in bed with Sandy, right? But when Vicky walks in, maybe he just ducked under the covers because he was screwing around with her body. Like I had suggested that, and I don't care, but I'm not a huge fan of him being a rapist, and I don't think that. Not like I'm like, yes, he raped her. No, I'm just saying like.
I don't think it,
because Freddie's like a child molester, right, and it's like that's part of him. But for some reason, like Jason being a rapist, it's just, I think what it is more than anything, he's murdering people. I can't really like say like he's a good guy. It has nothing to do with any of that kind of stuff. It's not like his character is being called into question. I'm like, Jason wouldn't do that. It just doesn't feel accurate to what we know of Jason. But I guess if they're saying it is, I mean, how can we possibly be like, well, no, it's like the movie's saying it is.
Because I mean, everything that's set up in part 1, you
Yeah,
know.
but part one, he's just a
And
kid. Part two is
yes,
all we really get of
yeah,
him, and he's
part
just
2 and then
stalking
part 3,
people
but
a
then
little bit, and we don't really see him until the end. So
but then
how can we
everything
possibly say he's a rapist or not in that
no.
movie?
Well, my point with that is that I think that okay, because I guess you could take this that he could potentially become a rapist, but I feel like Pamela Voorhees would have been very sexually repressive of him. Like he's a child, yes, but because he
We don't know
is
anything about
deformed
their
and everything,
relationship.
this is just my extrapolating, like what I would think, especially because she finds like all these like the kids are the camp counselors are having sex and that's why he drowned and everything. I feel like from that point, at the very least from that point, she would have been like anti-sex, which is I think apparent in the first movie. Like she's killing people that are having sex.
So there you go.
And
Sexual repression.
yeah, so like that could lead to him being like, I want to try it anyway. But I think from this point on, with the rest of the films, unless I'm misremembering scenes, he doesn't do anything else sexual. Like he's like asexual for the rest of the films.
Well, yeah, because he's like a fucking zombie the rest of the franchise.
But I prefer him. I mean, I don't know. I prefer his character interpreted that way because I don't know. It just lines up more with like how I would think Pamela would have raised him too. Like even before he died and like before the mystical stuff and whatever, or before he like wasn't dead, whatever we want to say like happened in the timeline. I just feel like she comes across to me as a mom that would have been like hyper controlling and very much like a Norma Bates kind of like no other girls, no nothing.
And what happens with Norman?
Yeah, that's a different.
Your
like,
argument is not holding water currently.
You could go both ways with it, is all I'm saying. And I don't know. I'm gonna stop it because
Pamela Voorhees could have been banging Jason herself for all we know. We don't know shit about their relationship.
I know. I just am imagining like what
so
I think.
This is your headcanon, and that's fine because we don't get confirmation of nothing.
Yeah, not
right?
yet, but maybe we will get more information with A24.
It still wouldn't be applied to this, not applicable here because it'll be a reboot. It'll be something disconnected from this franchise. And I even though they kind of go into one another, they feel like alternate reality versions.
A little bit, yeah.
Right? Because Jason looks so different from movie to movie.
Yeah.
That it's even though the events are the same in the end, right? Like in the next one, he's still in the barn with an axe in his head, right? But when he comes back out, he just has a different build. He looks the most similar from 3 to 4 when you're talking about like 2, 3, and 4, because like or even 1, 2, 3, and 4, of course, but like because the Mongoloid in part 1. I don't know. Does that really look like the Mongoloid in part 2? The Mongoloid in part 1 looks more like the Mongoloid in part 3, right? Jason looks more close to how he does when he pops out of the boat at the end of 1 in this one than he does in that. But once again, Jenny was having a dream, but she saw his face. She took his mask off, so she would know what he looks like. So she should dream of what he looks like.
Right.
So I don't know why he's hairless in this one.
Yeah, I was wondering that too, but you're right. Like he looks more like an adult version of part 1's Jason that we see. But I think the other problem I have with like him being like a rapist, or not the problem that I have, but the problem that there is with it is that it doesn't make it easy to market too, because it's like he's already going around killing kids, but
that's
then
why it's implied.
Also make it be like he rapes them too.
I think the director, even though it's the same director as the last one, I think the director and the writer, whatever, was just trying to make him more abhorrent, right?
Yeah.
And also to try to add some kind of character to Chris, and to just give us some kind of backstory so that they had more pages to fill.
Yeah.
Right? Because they already filled 7 minutes, almost 8 minutes of runtime with the first, the old movie, and then the end credits and all that stuff. This movie's like an hour and 10 minutes long, and like 5 minutes of that, 10 minutes of that is her recounting some, past trauma that she had with Jason. So to me, it's just like he's the writer's just trying to do literally anything to try to make it like more interesting, and it's like, well, he's a rapist.
I
but
think
they don't
ultimately
outright
you're
say
right.
it.
Yeah. And it also sucks though, because for Chris, like, she leaves like everything after everything that happens. She is so traumatized and just insane.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
So that sucks.
It does suck. It does suck indeed. Okay. So how does the cashier know that Vera is going to pay with food stamps? Like, because when they go to pick her up, am I misremembering this? Isn't it? Wait, no, it's Chris. Chris is who they go to pick up, and the mom's like, she's not going, right? Because Chris is the one who had the problems, and that's why her parents don't want her to go.
Yeah.
And her mom's Mexican.
Chris's mom's Mexican?
Right? They go Shelly and everybody. No, it isn't. It's Vera. That's what I thought. That's what I'm thinking. So, okay. I for a second I was off in my head because I was like, why is she so against her going? And I'm like, wait, is that Chris's mom? I've seen this movie a million times. I don't know why I even questioned myself. Back to what I knew was already the truth. Vera's mom is Mexican.
Yeah.
But Vera does not look Mexican to me.
No, but I think...
Because I think that's what they're trying to say. Like, the cashier, who, if I remember correctly, she looked... I have to think about how she looks. But regardless, they're trying to say, like, Vera's Mexican. She's so obviously Mexican. Right. She must be poor and using food stamps. Yeah. But Vera does not look Mexican to me. Like, not so much that people would be like 100% like, this girl's using food stamps.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, that is, I think,
it's screwed up to do that anyway. Right. I'm just saying, why does she think she's using food stamps? And she's right. That's what's super funny.
Yeah, I don't know what the ethnicity actually is of the actress, obviously, but the character is supposed to be, and it is just like a shorthand way to like confirm it.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah. I don't know. You guys think Vera looks Mexican? I just don't get that from her. She looks pretty white to me. I do find it kind of ironically funny though that she like goes to reach into her pocket and she's like, we don't take no food stamps neither.
Yeah.
And she like, Shelly, like she really is going to have to use food stamps. Yeah. So she was dead on.
Yeah.
But I was just wondering this time, like, how does she know? How does she like, how?
Yeah, she's just being racist.
She's being racist, but there's people who are super clearly Mexican.
Yeah.
Like my brother.
Well, and there's like a whole, there's obviously an issue where like when certain races are more like quote unquote white passing, like they get treated differently.
Yeah.
Because of that, and it's like, erasing their identity in a way.
Yeah.
So, but like, yeah, I mean, obviously people look different. People look more or less whatever their race is.
I mean, it's obviously terrible, but I mean, I would much prefer to be not like, I would not want someone to be racist towards me. Right? So like, sure, if I just look white enough and I never get it, that's a good thing for me. Like, even though it's lame that people are like that, and it's like, well, you just look like one of us, so I'll treat you like one of us. It's terrible.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't rather look more not white to get shit from more people.
But yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you're like, oh, they're erasing that, and I agree with you. Their like heritage or their ethnicity or something is being erased, and by that, but it's like, okay, in this instance, I'll take it as a win.
But plus, like in their own community too, there's like, but it's hard to think about as white people.
Of course.
Because it's like we've never had that happen. But
of course.
Yeah, I don't know. This cashier is just psychic or a psychic racist.
A psychic racist. I'll go with that. Psychic racist. Okay. And the scene of scenes, the thing I can't ever not talk about when it comes to this movie is when Debbie gets a yo-yo straight to the face, bounces right off of her face. No like subtlety, no like did that happen? The freaking thing bounces right off of her head, and the editor just happens to put a freaking piece of dialogue in there that says, "Oh, that was close."
Oh my god, yeah.
Close to what? Going through my head?
That was close.
That was close to you killing
You almost
me.
touched my brain.
Yeah. That was close. I noticed that as a kid and being like, what?
We could touch
You mean that was close? It was way more than close.
Just poor editing.
That would be like two planes colliding in the air and people are like, that was close.
So dramatic.
Yeah. No. That is not dramatic.
That was close.
Okay. And so when Fox and Loco and Ali come to burn the barn down, their plan is to pour gasoline on the barn, and Fox is not about it. She is like, maybe we should just go, and then Ollie has to pull out his like sweet side and be like, I promise nobody's gonna get hurt, baby. And it's like, you're gonna take gallons and gallons of gas and pour it onto flammable ass hay.
Yeah.
Light it on fire right next to a house that kids are in.
Yeah.
In whatever condition. They could be drunk, passed out. And
who knows?
You're confirming for sure
nobody's gonna
that
get hurt.
No one's gonna get hurt. Dude, you could burn down freaking half the forest.
Sure. Yeah.
Right? Killing tons of animals, by the way.
Yes.
But you could kill tons of people.
Yeah.
Like, what are you saying?
Fires are dangerous.
To say the least.
To say the least.
To say the least. So
Yeah.
I find it hilarious that he's like, oh, no one's going to get hurt. We're just going to light a building on fire.
Don't worry, no one will get hurt.
Yeah. Yeah. No one's ever died
just a little bit of arson.
from a building fire. That's never in the history of ever has anybody died from that.
No.
So Ali thinks.
Just be cool. It's some arson.
Yeah. Oh well. I do like Loco's bark when he's alerting them that like the coast is clear. He's like trying to be all quiet and sly, and then he fucking barks. Woof. Like, what is that, like to hide the mask that's
that
them?
Is a person, yeah.
That there's just some random canine wandering the property barking.
Yeah.
That guy does not look tough to me at all. They tried so hard, and his arms are the size of this pen.
Yeah, he doesn't look tough to me either. He looks just kind of skeezy.
Yeah.
If anything, like that's what he looks like to me.
Yeah, but he can bark like a tough guy for sure.
He's a barker.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, we never see it, but Jason is just walking around without a mask for half the film.
For most of it. So everybody that he's killing are just like, oh my god.
We find out Jason is a crack shot in this. He hits Vera at 100 yards with a spear gun.
Yeah.
I don't know why the hell Shelley has an actual functioning working spear gun that he brings with him. Fishing.
In the lake.
In that freaking puddle that they call what is that? They went skinny dipping in that thing? That little freaking mud hole that's like 2 feet across. We never see the thing in full scope, right? Because it's this big. Yeah. Because it's a pool. Yeah. It's nothing. It's the smallest. Yes. At best.
At best.
Yeah. Higgins Haven's pond is dirty.
Maybe. Yeah.
But it has a dock.
It does.
It has multiple docks. Because there's like the dock that's like by the door in the house, and then there's the dock across that she's on when and then Jason's like walking across another, like a pier.
Yeah. Yeah, he's walking on a long dock.
Bro, that place does not need all that.
It doesn't. But maybe Shelley wanted to just make sure that he would get some fish. He's like, this is the way to go fishing.
No, because it's just part of his props to be scary.
Yeah, I don't know.
Right?
He's not the brightest. So
we're good. No, he's not the brightest. But he is the deadest. I don't know how you're the deadest.
Yeah. He's the deadest. Because
Yeah.
he already fake died first.
Yeah, he dies a lot in this
Dies
movie.
twice.
You're right. You're right.
Yeah.
No, he dies.
More than twice.
Yeah, he dies a couple times. Oh, more than a couple.
The boy that cried wolf.
A few times. He is the boy who cried
Although
wolf.
by the point, like whenever he's actually got his like throat slit, and he comes in, like he dies like 2 seconds after when Chili's like, stop playing around or whatever.
But I want to say he's away from the house when he gets his throat slit. So he walked quite a distance with his throat slit. So he was bleeding for quite some time.
Yeah, but nobody was there. I'm saying by the time he gets to where a person is who's like discounting what he's saying, he's already like
Oh,
dead,
Chili, yeah,
much.
Chili couldn't do anything.
Yeah.
None of them could.
No.
Even if Jason was like, okay, you guys ready? And he held it there and he's like, all right, go. And he sliced his throat, we wouldn't survive. No.
Yeah.
So it didn't matter when they found him. He was dying. As soon as that jugular opened up, it was curtains. Meat curtains for Shelly. No?
No.
We're done with that?
It's banned on the channel.
It's banned on the channel. That's what people call a vagina, though.
No.
So I don't know why I compared it to
your butt door. Whatever.
Your butt door.
Door flaps.
Now you're making it gross. How do you like Jason's build in this? He is much bulkier. He's been hitting the iron.
Yeah, I like the way he looks in this. Like his body type, I think it fits. I definitely think I probably prefer Kane Hodder. Like as a Jason, I like his movements. I think he like gives a scarier version of Jason.
Yeah.
Like more determined. But I think whoever did, I don't know who this guy is.
Richard Brooker.
I like how he acts in this.
Yeah.
I think his physicality is good.
I really like this Jason.
He's scary, and his scary. Like his shoulders too. Like it's definitely prosthetics, but like the way that his neck is like huge. Yeah, that's scary.
Yeah,
he looks intimidating for sure.
Yeah, he's strong as hell.
Yeah,
that guy. Now that Jason looks like he is strong. Mm-hmm. Like Jason from Part 2 looks small. Like he
compared
to this guy. Yeah, he puts
like
on some serious weight.
Hitting that iron.
Yeah, in one day.
He's like,
he just ate all those. He ate all the freaking Harold's stash. Hit them donuts.
Probably.
Them peanuts, whatever was left.
Whatever was there.
Yeah. Shit, he probably just ate Harold. Okay, I find it ironic that Andy dies going to get a beer for Debbie, and ultimately she doesn't even want it. Now, that being said, how is it that he's carrying it back? Because he's not wearing a shirt.
Yeah.
He's on his hands walking, and he has a beer on him for Debbie?
I don't know.
Where is he holding it?
Balancing it like on his butt.
He is a juggler.
Yeah.
He's juggling with his feet?
He's holding it with his feet.
It's in his pocket?
Or pocket.
Like, where's that beer that he was getting for Debbie?
Pocket?
It looked like Jason shook it up pretty good, though.
Yeah, he did.
If she opened that.
Jason was like, shotgun it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Jason was like,
definitely one of my favorite kills in the franchise.
Yeah, it's a cool one.
Andy getting just butchered from the top like that. And then when we see his body above Debbie in the hammock, he is mangled.
Yeah, I love that.
And then Debbie's up through the chest is really gnarly as well. So those are the two best kills in the film. Well, Rick's eye gouge looks pretty stupid, but I like the concept.
Yeah, I like Rick's death a good amount, even though it is very cheesy and corny looking.
It doesn't,
but I still really like it.
But like the other two do look good.
They do.
That's why I'm saying they're superior.
But just like the idea of Jason like crushing a man's head
with his build in this, I buy it. In this, with the build in this, I buy it. And I like that when right before Debbie is killed, Tom Savini's Fangoria is featured.
Yeah,
given a little credit.
I was talking about this when we were watching it. I want to know what edition of Fangoria that is.
Yeah,
I guess you could just
we could find it.
And see.
Yeah, there's not that many issues of Fangoria. There's like a few, like a couple hundred. So you just have to like go through them and look at like the top of
I think there's a lot more than a few hundred.
No, I don't think so. Over the years?
Yeah.
Because it was like a monthly thing that came out for, you
But
know.
it's still coming out.
No, they went out of print for many years.
And then they came back.
And then they came back.
I don't know,
So
what edition?
I guess maybe, I don't know. How many issues of Fangoria are there? Because Dave Z from Exploding Heads was trying to collect them all.
Yeah, I actually want to start collecting them. I haven't told you, but that's... Well, maybe I have told you, but that's one thing that I'm actually...
Where the hell are we going to put hundreds of issues of Fangoria?
You know, the good thing about magazines is that they're thin-ish.
Not when there's 500 of them.
Well, I won't collect all of them. I want to collect ones that I want.
Yeah. Chuck and Chili are wasters. Chuck is wasting popcorn like crazy, and Chili puts so much goddamn salt.
She's like, salt? Is that enough?
Dude.
No.
They both deserve to die. Just for their popcorn alone.
It's because they're so high. They're like...
Yeah, I mean, Chili says to Chuck, he's like, why don't you ever scream like that for me? And she's like, give me something to scream about. Jason overhears that shit, and he's like, I'll give you something to scream about. And he sticks
hold my beer, Andy.
Yeah. With your feet. But he... what was I gonna say? Oh, the friggin' heated up poker.
Yeah.
I have to imagine that's about as close as you're gonna get to feeling what it would be like to be stabbed by a lightsaber.
Probably.
Yeah, that was Jason's lightsaber moment.
He was like, choo, choo. I can't make lightsaber noises.
It is what it is. Yeah, so to have a hot poker like that stuck through you.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. That sounds, I don't know. How much worse would that hurt? It sounds like it would hurt a lot worse. It would be horrible without it being heated up like that. But being heated up like that, just the initial burn and then all the pain. And
the fact that you could probably smell
your own flesh.
Skin.
Yeah. So she shouldn't have oversalted that popcorn. Now, this time when someone is thrown through the window, it's Rick. Rick's big though, but regardless, and Rick is also 40. But when he gets thrown through the window, see, in the first movie, when Pam throws someone through a window, I'm calling bullshit. But this Jason throwing someone through a window, he just crushed a guy's skull with his bare hands, and his eye popped out. He could throw this guy through a window for sure. Jason does moan out in pain when injured here.
He does.
Yeah.
He got hurt.
I do like, this is one of the rare times in the franchise when Chris falls, from the window after her little fight with Jason. And Chris is a badass, man. She really gives up a good fight. This is actually high up there in my favorite final chase scenes.
Yeah.
Between Final Girl and Jason, I would say, I don't know, I'd have to rank them. That would be fun. Ranking the Final Girls, like chase sequences.
That would be fun.
This one is definitely up there. This is good. Chris is a good Final Girl.
She's smart.
But this is one of the rare times where we get to see a character watching Jason just kind of doing something. Right? Because she goes out the window and then she looks through the window and sees him coming down the stairs and just watches him after. He's not just coming out of the shadows for once. He's not just appearing behind somebody. He's not just killing you.
You get to see the in-between.
Yes. This is a very rare moment of we don't get to see Jason go down the stairs. We don't get to see Jason hide a body. We don't get to see any of that stuff. It's always done off screen.
Yeah.
So for her to actually watch and then wait and go over and know she watched him walk over, the tables have been turned is what I'm saying. We don't get that. Jason doesn't have the upper hand on him much. But much like all our favorite slasher icons, they just struggle with that last victim. They're so proficient.
They do. I know.
And then they're like, this time, okay, and they get in their head about it. They're like, no, the last one got me. But this time, and then he gets like super self-conscious.
Yeah, he gets performance
and
anxiety.
He's like, God damn it, I always lose to these, but not this time.
And this girl, though, I don't think he even wants to kill her. He just is like, you're my girlfriend.
He wants round 2.
We're dating. Why are you running from me?
Yeah.
Why are you running?
That's his voice?
No, that's that meme.
Oh.
Like, have you seen that?
No.
Oh.
No. Baby, don't hurt me. That's the only memes I'm interested in. Kid named Paint. If it's not Mike O'Hearn, I don't care. Okay. Not much left. She runs out of gas and doesn't realize what's happening for quite a while. That's kind of dumb. When your car starts to like slowly stall out, your first initial thought is going to be gas, but I could excuse it for like right when they were coming into town, they gassed up. And so to her, it's like, there's no way I'm out of gas.
Right.
Like, what the hell is
She
this?
doesn't know that it's been siphoned.
Correct.
Yeah.
So for me, I'll give it a pass, but if your car ever starts like stuttering like that, you're probably running out of gas.
Yeah.
And that would be my very first thought. But as I said, if I literally just got gas and that started happening, I don't even think I'd look at my gas
like,
gauge.
She's frantic too. Like,
of course.
so for a lot
She's
of these,
thinking.
like whenever we talk about like final girl fights, like little things when they miss them, I do feel like they can totally get a pass because it's like, come on.
Sure.
Like, unless you're trained to be level-headed, like in a scary situation.
Yeah.
There's a good chance you won't and you'll miss things.
Chris falls from the rafters. I always thought it was on purpose when I was younger, but the more I've watched it, she just starts to slip. And then she just so happens to be hanging over him and then just knocks him down with the force of her body. But I don't understand how she slips. When you're just kind of laying on top of something, I just don't see like her weight shifting enough that she's like, uh-oh.
Yeah, I don't know.
Like, that just seems like poor writing. Like, I would have rather Chris knew she was in a bad predicament and purposely lowered herself just to drop on top of him to try to like knock him out.
Yeah, it doesn't feel intentional. It
No.
feels like she's like, oh crap.
She's like, I'm losing my grip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It just happens to fall on him, and
Yeah.
you should have been like waiting there like this
Yeah.
to catch her.
Like, yeah.
Smiling up at her with his little creepy face.
Should
have been like,
he was like yeah, her hanging him is cool. I don't know if she could push him. He would weigh so much. He's probably 250. He looks massive.
Yeah,
and Chris doesn't look over 100 pounds.
No, but he's sort of.
He's on the edge.
Like one leg off or something. Like he's a little in a precarious predicament.
I do love that she hangs his ass.
Yeah, I do too.
It's ambitious.
Yeah.
For sure, but she's just like, screw it.
Yeah.
So she's a fighter. Then she puts a damn axe in his head.
Yeah.
And
we get that iconic scene of him being like.
Well, we also get the iconic hatchet mark.
Yeah.
In his mask. But yeah, he's got the Frankenstein monster walk.
Yeah, I just love that shot.
And then he drops, and that's it, because the rest of the movie is a dream. Because he lays there until like when the cops show up, he's still right there from when she put the axe in his head.
Yep.
So, and you can see him kind of just like, he coming at her, and then he's just like oh, I can't walk this one off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But then okay, so the Friday the 13th Part 1 homage. She gets in the canoe, she goes out in the little pond, and then Jason's up in the window. Now, I do really I think Brooker's best acting, not that he gets a lot of time to act, but I really like his performance on like how he like paws at the glass.
Oh,
and he's just like,
I think that's terrifying.
It's scary.
I think it's really scary because he's like so excited, and there's this weird like, it's like a childish like fervor or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's scary. It's scary. And then whenever he's gone and she's like like looking around. So am I like totally mistaken? Do they ever talk about Jason in this film? Like the people that are there?
No.
Debbie and Andy, like none of them, like, so I guess it's just assumed that they've, because why would she have a dream about Pamela Voorhees?
Oh, I know. I have that written down.
If, like, they don't even talk about it. Like, even when she's talking about what happened to her, she's just like, the ugliest man ever, like, came after me. But it's not ever like, she's not like Jason.
So she grew up in that area.
Yeah.
Jason's mom, I think, I don't know. She puts two and two together, I suppose. I have no idea. I don't know why she would know what Pamela Voorhees was wearing on the night of her death. Right? She's wearing the sweater and everything. So, bro, I got no answers. Not even remotely close of an answer to that.
I mean, it could be.
And she has her head.
Yeah, she does. It could be supernatural. You know, like the dreams are, like Pamela's ghost is like.
That's the only explanation.
I mean, yeah, because I don't know. I feel like this is one where like nobody talks about Jason in the film.
Is it? I mean, does Chris know of Pamela Voorhees' murder spree? Probably.
Yeah.
Probably living in that area.
But you would think.
But why she would connect this brute out in the forest and
Jason.
Then see her dead body connected to Jason is just bad writing.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
But they don't care, right?
No.
They're just like, we're doing an homage. Jason popped out of the water in part 1. Pamela's gonna flip it this time. You know, it's supposed to be poetic. It rhymes.
It should have just had like every Friday ends with somebody popping out of the water, and it's just somebody from one of the best. Just Crazy Ralph one time.
Crazy Ralph, yeah.
Freaking Shelley.
Harold with a poopy butt.
Yeah, Harold with his poopy butt.
Yeah, poopy butt Harold. He'll forever be known as Poopy Butt Harold from now on. But yeah, and then I actually do really like Chris's performance when she gets in the car and she starts screaming, and then he like grabs at her and it like turns into manic laughter. I do really buy that she's completely lost it.
Yeah,
because I think the acting from everyone in this movie is actually pretty solid.
It is. I agree. I actually didn't find it to be quite as hammy or anything.
Because like these movies are always going to be targeted for specific things.
Yeah.
Acting is one of those things.
Yeah.
And I just don't feel like this film has that problem. And I don't dislike the performances in part 1 or 2. They're not amazing or anything. But I do actually think that the acting in this one is the best of the 3 so far. I find that the characters, I don't know. I find, yeah, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think Pamela in the first one.
But that's one
I know,
character.
And she's like a seasoned actress.
Of course.
Yeah, it's one character, but
she gives the best performance, sure.
For sure.
But as an ensemble,
I guess I agree with you. The ensemble, yeah. I don't know. I mean, I think it's good. I like Chris's. I like that reaction. I already said, like, I mean, it's sad and it sucks because it's like she's already been traumatized, and then this just kind of like adds on top of it, and she has a mental break. And I think that's a pretty like realistic and believable ending to like what a final girl would be like. You know, I mean, Laurie Strode is kind of that way in like the opening of Halloween 2 and whatnot, but not like this. But I do think that would be, like I already said, just believable.
But I will say this: now I am super, super interested to read these books.
Yeah,
because we could get some confirmation. I mean, it's just an added layer to like, do you want to believe this? Because I think it's always going to come down to headcanon. And in this, there's no definite that she was raped. There's no definite that she would have known who Pamela Voorhees was or any of that stuff. But the book could outright say it. Yeah. But you could get one version of the book, because there is 2. You could get one version that says he did and one version that says he didn't. And then I guess you could just pick whatever one you want. Yeah. So I know most people are not fans of him being a rapist, and I get it.
I'm not.
I mean, I'm not a fan with anybody being a rapist.
No, I'm not. Yeah. But my headcanon is... But at the same time, I was saying, like, yeah, he raped her in this. So he is a rapist. So
maybe.
Sucks. Bad boy Jason.
Bad boy Jason.
Don't rape people. Only kill them.
Yeah. And wipe your ass, Harold. That's it. We're done.
Yep.
Yep. We didn't come up with any new words, did we? We had one in every video.
No, I was like pop and crop.
Oh yeah.
That's not a new word. It's a new phrase.
Cropping up, is an actual, that's a phrase? Cropping up? I guess. I mean, it makes more sense, I guess.
Isn't it? It's a phrase.
To me, it was always, they're popping up all over town.
Crop up. No, that's a phrase. It's a phrase.
Okay. We got Poopy Butt Harold out of this.
Yeah, we did.
We got a 5-minute discussion about poop.
You're welcome.
So, lowbrow stuff here.
Yeah.
So subscribe. All right, guys. That's that. Next week, Friday the 13th, part 4, the final chapter, the greatest Friday the 13th movie, in my opinion. And I get to finally see it in a theater.
In theaters.
And I'm sure Kaylee will be vlogging that experience. So you can thank her for any vlogs that happen.
Yeah.
All right.